for the entire workflow within your commerce experience. So Scott, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, thanks Brent, appreciate it. So I'm Scott Dahlgren. I head up global channel development for Akeneo. That is primarily focused on our partners, our solution partners. Those are the partners that we depend on to implement and help grow Akeneo. It consists of about 75 around the world, of which Wagento is an important one here in the US. So thank you, Brent.
And like I said, my name is Brent Peterson, and I'm a Magento evangelist, and I roam the world talking about Magento, and while I am at events, I usually find a marathon to run. So the picture there is from the Chicago Marathon in 2016, and Scott is also a runner. So that's our theme today, is running Magento and Akeneo.
Running fast.
Right. Yeah, Scott, so if you wanted to start it off.
Sure. Let me just make sure I have control. There we go. So let me just go right into, there we go. I've got a little delay between slide changing. So we're going to be talking about, or I'm going to be talking about how great product experience enables Omnichannel. So let's jump right into this. For some reason, Brent, I'm not, there we go. Okay. So I think we all understand the importance of customer experience in attracting and keeping customers on any site. And I think more importantly, to get those users and people on your site to actually buy things. But great customer experience isn't one thing, it's a lot of things. There are many approaches and ways to deliver a great customer experience. A few of those that I'm sure everyone's familiar with. One is personalization, to provide relevant content and offers to specific individuals. It's providing the right amount and all the information that users need in order to make a buying decision. You know, this can be basic product information, but it can also be images and documents and testimonials and stories and lots of other things that buyers use to make decisions in what they're going to buy. It allows people to interact with a company through any way they want, really, through any a number of channels, particularly mobile. And it throughout all that, it requires that merchants provide a consistent product information across all of those channels. And, you know, of course, there are many other elements to providing great customer experience. But one of the things that is common among all of these and many other ones is that product experience, they all rely on having complete and high quality product information. And so, you know, in other words, in order to deliver great customer experiences, you need to have a great product experience. So let's talk about what product experience is. What does that really mean, and what does it look like? So first, it means that the product information is highly structured, it's high quality, it's complete, so that it is accurate across all the channels that you're selling to. It exists in one place, it's managed centrally, and it's available wherever you need it, so that you avoid duplication of effort and not have multiple databases and multiple people. It means being able to localize it and adapt it wherever it's needed. So you can expand into new locales and create local experiences. And finally, It needs to be easily distributed to whatever channel you're selling to, so that it's always available anywhere, anytime. So let's look at from the buyer's perspective. What are buyers looking for today? And when I'm talking about a buyer, I'm either talking about a consumer in a B2C world or a business buyer in a B2B site. There's really not much difference. So first, buyers have more choice today than ever before in where and how they buy. Of course, they can buy online through a e-commerce site. They can buy in a retail store. They can review print catalogs and order on phone. They can order on tablets, mobile, through marketplaces, through social channels, and now even chatbot devices where you're ordering through voice recognition systems, or any combination of these. So buyers have lots of choice, and they also really want to see a lot of information. So they want to make informed buying decisions before they make a decision, and they're going to collect as much information as they can to make sure that they're making the right decision. And of course, this includes basic product information, but it should also include pictures and videos, and how do I use it, and how do I care for it, and what do other people think, technical information, installation docs, and I think, you know, what is most important, what we think is most important, but also the most difficult, is trying to make this emotional connection to whatever they're purchasing. So making it personal. And you know, buyers are very fickle. They have a lot of choice. So if they can't find the information they need at your site, there's a good chance they're going to go somewhere else. Or if they make a purchase without the benefit of all the information they need, they may make that decision, but there's also a higher chance that they'll return that product. So the bottom line is there's a lot of information the buyers want and need to make a buying decision, and managing all of that information is really challenging. So let's look at really the two main challenges that companies today are facing that prevent them from creating great product experience. So the first is that there's an increasing amount and complexity of product information that's required to support all the different ways in which users and buyers want to actually buy. And the second is that most companies today really don't have the right tools to manage this level of product information complexity. In fact, a recent survey has shown that the majority of companies are using either Excel or ERP systems to manage their product data, neither of which were really intended or designed to do this. And they just are not good productivity tools for them to do their job today. So let's look at the challenge around product experience and product information complexity. So every one of us is a buyer. So we know from experience that how we make our decisions. And we know that those decisions are based on three types of information. You know, the first is technical information. So it's color, size, and we want to know kind of what it looks like and how much it weighs and how big it is. There's usage information. So this tells me how I'm going to use it. And again, the emotional information. So this creates that connection between a user and their buying decision. It makes it more personal. So let's look at a real example here. So in this example, this is a foam roller. Brent might use it after running a marathon because he's got sore muscles, and this foam roller helps to massage those muscles. And so in this description here, you can see the three types of information. So the technical information, it talks about basic size and weight and material and such. But, you know, based on this information, all I know is that this is a really colorful cylindrical tube. I don't really know what it's used for. So that's where usage information comes in. I now know that, you know, this is intended to be used to massage aching muscles, and it's also designed to be something I can actually take with me, which is interesting. And finally, the emotional information is usually in the form of a story. In this case, this foam roller was actually built by an NFL football player, a real person. And it was designed for people who are active and they're on the move. And, you know, I think I'm active, I think I'm on the move. So it appeals to me, it appeals to that emotional side of my brain. And so regardless of whether I'm actually active or on the move, I might buy this because it reinforces what, at least my perception of who I think I am. So that's a good example of the complexity of product information that exists today. So we know that product data is more complex, that complexity requires more resources to manage, and that companies, for the most part, don't have great tools to manage that information. And that's where product information management, or PIM, solutions can really help. So it's really quite simple. First, we start by collecting and importing product information from anywhere in any format. The PIM provides that central repository across all locales and all channels, enabling you to manage and enrich and translate that information in one place. There are productivity tools that allow users and large groups of users to manage product information more efficiently and effectively across those locales and channels. And there's also ways to open this central repository out to third-party people, suppliers, so that you can distribute the workload out to suppliers. And finally, that information can be exported and distributed out anywhere, wherever you need it. So let's see what that actually looks like. Here are a few screenshots of Akeneo PIM. And this here is the dashboard. And it provides visibility into product enrichment projects that are assigned to me, or I might have assigned to my team. And it also shows the completeness of my products across all channels and all locales. So I can drill down into all the products, and there's an easy and intuitive user interface here designed for marketing or merchandising or product managers. And it allows them to intuitively filter, sort, view, and enrich products any way they want. You can drill down into products to work on any attribute or any attribute group that I have permission to. And we can also manage different product variations. So there's extensive capability here to manage product families and product variations. Product families being a product group that contains common and inherited attributes. And for each variant, again, I can easily see the completeness of a product across any channel and any locale. And users can easily create new attributes, categories, product families, product groups, locales, currencies, any number of things. Those are all configurable within PIM by a non-technical person to configure. And there's also a rules engine as well to automate the creation and translation of information. Also here, you can define completeness criteria. So this will define by family and by channel which attributes are critical in order to show a completeness scale and allow export of those products out to the different channels. And finally, there are team collaboration and workflow tools to enable larger teams to work together in a more collaborative way, or as I mentioned before, to open up your PIM to third parties like suppliers, which would allow you to distribute the workload. In this example here, we see changes that a marketing person has made, and they're sending them to their manager for approval and acceptance. So the benefits of a PIM solution are significant. So I want to walk through a couple of customers here and just show you how they are benefiting from Akeneo PIM. So the first set of benefits here are really around productivity. It's simply being able to handle many more products with fewer people in less time. So a couple of examples here. Rexel increased the number of products that they were selling from 50,000 to 1 million, and they did it in 6 months. Hermes has lots of seasonal collections, and so time to market was critical. And they reduced their time to market by 66%. Natalis increased overall productivity by 50%. And Shop.com, they spent a lot of time on content enrichment, and using Akeneo allowed them to reduce the amount of time they spent on content enrichment by 56%. But productivity improvements aren't the only thing that aren't the only benefit that users are seeing. They're also seeing increases in conversion and decreases in product returns. So GSM 55 saw a over 50% increase in conversions because they had more complete and higher quality product information. And for the same reason, our customer PIM key saw a 40% reduction in product returns, both of which really dramatically impacted the bottom line. So let me drill down into one example. This is Jabra. Many people may be familiar with Jabra as a Bluetooth device and headphone maker. But their objectives were to really expand and grow their market through lots of different channels, both traditional and digital channels. And they also wanted to provide data as a service, so high quality data as a service to resellers who had limited internal resources to do that themselves. They implemented Akeneo first to centralize and distribute all their product information across channels and retailers and wholesalers in the reseller network. It really became a tool, a much easier to use tool that empowered their internal teams to really enrich and take charge of the product data that they had. And they could do it in less time, and so those teams spent more time focused on product information that appealed to the emotional side of everyone's decision making. And what you could arguably say is the most important part. They had 6,000 products, a lot, but not many. We've got customers with hundreds of thousands and even millions of products, but they were delivering products and selling across 25 different locales, and they had 11 channels. By implementing Akeneo, they saw a 4-time increase in the time to market. So it took them four times less time to get to market than before. So a couple slides on Akeneo PIM. First, we're an open source solution. That means, for those familiar with open source, we are modular, we're flexible. We allow you to extend and control the direction of your product. Of course, you can leverage what others are doing. There's a large community of developers and companies using Akeneo PIM. It's based on modern technology, PHP. There's no vendor lock-in. You've got control of the software. It's enterprise. So we have a large number of enterprise customers who have large teams of people who are managing products. And so we've got features and functionality that allow larger teams to be more productive, that allow larger teams to scale easily, whether it's number of products or number of channels or number of locales. And we include workflow and collaboration that allow teams to work more productively together. And of course, it's backed by Akeneo back support. And I think most importantly, we're built for marketers. That's what Akeneo was built for from the ground up, is not as a technical solution, but as a solution that users can use and non-technical people can use to be very productive. We are the fastest growing PIM company. We've got 45,000 live installations of our community edition. That equates to over 2 per hour that are being installed. And we've got over 200 enterprise edition customers all around the world. We've got about 140 people now located in France, Germany, London, US, Madrid, Tel Aviv, and we're continuing to grow. So with that, Brent, I'm going to pass that back over to you. Thank you.
Great, thank you for that, Scott. That was good, and I just went and bought a Trek collapsible foam roller while you were talking. I have a tube foam roller, but I made an emotional decision based on the data you provided me for that product, and that
it worked.
Really good. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that was very interesting. Thank you. So again, my name is Brent Peterson, and I work for Wagento. We are a Magento solution provider. We have offices in Minnesota, in Mexico, in South America. We are specifically in Bolivia, and an office in India. And we provide Magento solutions across the platform of what Magento offers as a suite. And I'm also going to show you some partners that we work with to kind of complete that omni-channel experience, with Akeneo being that front main partner that we would look at to get your product experience to where we'd like to see it.
Brent, you're muted. You've been muted the whole time.
Okay, sorry about that. Wow. Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm just going to go back and introduce myself then. All right. So, all right. I'm Brent Peterson. I work with Magento, Wagento. We're a Magento solution partner. We have offices in Minneapolis, in Mexico, in Bolivia, and India, and we implement solutions across the omnichannel sphere for Magento and Akeneo. I'm going to start with Magento, the kind of the commerce backbone for the front end of what your clients are seeing on the web, where Akeneo would be how you're going to make those products beautiful. Magento is going to be how you're going to sell those products to people. I'm also going to introduce the middle framework that we look at for order management that's kind of bind a lot of those channels together. And I'm also going to talk about a couple of partners that we work with that would complete some of those omni-channel experiences of POS and also as application, iOS and Android applications. So let's start with Magento itself. Magento is a $124 billion gross market value industry that involves hundreds of thousands of developers, partners, merchants, all together in an ecosystem that allow the entire focus of omni-channel to come together in a place that helps the buyer experience from start to finish to complete for the end user. At the heart of this is the Magento community. I've been in the Magento community for 10 years now, and it is well over 300,000 developers now. And it's further enhanced by the recent news that Adobe has an intention to purchase Magento. So we are also going to leverage some of what the Adobe community can bring to the Magento community, and I'm very excited about what we have to offer for the future. From a feature standpoint, not only do we have the features that are built into Magento, but we also have a rich marketplace of plugins and extensions that allow you to leverage what you already have in your store and add on more and more features, such as support by Zendesk, which is a great tool, subscriptions. There's all kinds of extensions that allow you to make your Magento store exactly what you need without having a lot of programming needed. So I did mention that there is this sort of middle layer that Magento now offers called order management. And that order management piece is really where we find the best solution for the omni-channel experience, where Akeneo at the front end is giving that great product information. Magento is going to give that selling part of it. The channels are all brought together with Magento order management, so we can have as many channels as you want plugged into this central place. And why are we looking at this? We're seeing that customers are expecting multi-channel now. Customers would like to buy, would like to start on their mobile device and finish up in a store, or they would like to buy online and pick up in a store. So the Magento order management is allowing that process to happen much easier and much more efficiently. So at the heart of that is how we are connecting everything to one place. So we can connect all the different parts of your omni-channel experience. We can connect into this hub or this central order management platform. And that allows that complete, all those channels to come to one place and then fulfilled out to wherever you're fulfilling to. So you could have a Magento store in the United States, and you could have an Oro Commerce store in England. Those all could be connected to the order management and would allow you to fulfill those products either in the United States or in England or wherever else those are part of. It is a solution that brings all the cloud environment as well as a SaaS environment together to help to solidify all the channels into one spot and allow you to not only see all your orders, but aggregate your inventory across all those channels. So I like to look at Magento Order Management not only as a tool to help fulfill your orders in one spot, but also to help your channels to see which inventory is available in which location. So as we talk about different POS or different retail stores in different places in the world, you can at that facility see inventory information across other channels in other regions and have that available to you at your fingertips. So for example, your Magento store could offer all the products that you're offering at every single retail location. It could offer that through your Magento store, as well as leaving safe levels in each retail location, ensuring that you're not going to oversell some of those products. The order management gives you that global visibility, as I said. It allows you to ship from here to there. It allows your customer service people to also see where those items are coming from and where they're going to. It allows you to connect your inventory across all your channels. And like I said earlier, it allows you to eliminate some of those out-of-stock items. At the core of this is, what is your customer getting for a buying experience? So ship to home, order online, pick up in the store. These are some things that were a little more complicated in the past, but now are becoming very common. And I think the bottom line is that customers are expecting this. They're expecting to be able, if you have retail, they're expecting to buy online, pick up in the store. This solution allows you to fulfill those needs that the customers are asking for. It allows you to easily integrate your POS systems into your commerce system and allow that workflow to easily happen. So it can efficiently manage those orders across all those channels, marketplaces, multiple brands. You can incorporate microsites within your existing platform. It doesn't even have to be Magento. So we can incorporate the POS systems. We can incorporate multiple different front-end commerce systems, as well as other channels like applications. So you can have a central place to help manage your orders and your inventory. Okay, so as I mentioned, there are some add-ons to Magento that enhance the way Magento works. One of those add-ons would be a POS system. Now, eBizmarts is our go-to POS that we would look at for how do we want to attach a physical store location to your existing Magento store. eBizmarts gives you the solution to have an iOS-based POS platform that allows you to have the full and rich experience for your employee as well as the customer, as well as a traditional looking and functioning POS system. Now, the beauty of this is that it directly integrates with your Magento store, so you can have this seamless omni-channel experience from POS, as well as connecting to the inventory both through your order management or directly to your Magento system. It allows you to provide more of a tailored POS shopping or a tailored retail environment for your customer, while also offering the whole Magento catalog. The other option that we're going to go over is the app option. So I know that mobile commerce and responsive apps are now, responsive is a given. That is something that people are going to go for. Web companies are making responsive applications regardless of what they need. But what we're seeing now is that responsive apps, or mobile specifically, is coming up to the point of taking over where your e-commerce will be. And what we're seeing in emerging markets especially is that instead of looking at desktop applications first, we would look at clients only using mobile. So, for example, in places like Bolivia, you might have a 50% market penetration for desktop apps, but you would have a 98% penetration for a mobile app. So the need for a rich mobile experience is very important. And we've partnered with a great company called Jamango that gives us this app experience while giving the vendor, the person that making the site, a easy to launch mobile platform that is a application that the user can use on their device. So rather than just a straight up mobile app or a responsive Magento store, this is an application that is an iOS and Android based application that is easy to install and integrate with your Magento store. This gives you the conversions, the usability, and the speed that people are expecting from their applications. So this gives us the experience that merchants would like to see, or that clients would like to see, as well as puts you in the same category as what a really big box store or big retail chain would have with say more resources for the experience of producing an application for iOS and Android. So it is an easy to put into the workflow or the omnichannel experience, the application for Android and iOS. Now the additional, so the additional features on the Jamango platform is that we are getting, you don't have to manage that code. They are going to manage the code for you. So it could be seen as another theme or channel that you're doing within Magento, but it is a application that somebody would download and install on their mobile device. So in addition to some of those B2C offerings, they're also offering specific B2B experience items that would enable you to bring customers to your mobile application that would be only available to normally on the Magento or the B2B side on the Magento application. So the Magento B2B portion of it now is available on the Magento Commerce platform. This is also available on the mobile platform, that's giving the clients quicker and easier ways to access those products from a B2B side. And these apps that we've been talking about really do enable the omni-channel experience across the entire platform. So if we look at some of the problems, store discovery, we can do geofencing with the application. The endless aisle is a pretty common item. So small store locations, we can do endless aisles. Limited in-store production information, standing in line, self-scanning, frictionless payment, all those things now are possible without a lot of development dollars having to go towards some of the channels that we're talking about. To kind of sum things up then, between Magento Cloud, the products that Magento is offering, and the partners that Magento has to complete those omni-channel experience like Akeneo, gives you the full suite of what you need to go from start and say we were starting with our product and how we beautify our product in Akeneo, to finish on how we're delivering that product to the client. Magento now gives you that full range of opportunities to engage the client and help the client through the buying process, and then fulfill the client or fulfill the products to the client in one sort of nicely bundled suite of products from both Magento, Akeneo, and other partners that are involved in the ecosystem. And with that, I think we have some time to ask questions. We do have a Q&A part that you can ask questions on, and a chat section. So if you do have any questions that you would like to ask, Madeline is here to help field those. If you have questions about the product management portion of it, Scott would be happy to answer those. And I can help answer questions about the Magento side of things. So Madeline, do you know if there's any questions right now from anybody?
We don't have any questions right now, but if people want to ask any questions, you can feel free to use the chat window or the Q&A box that's right at the bottom of your Zoom video thing.
Scott, how do you see the PIM market now impacting how the commerce market is growing? Like, 5 years ago, people weren't familiar with PIMs as much. How do you feel that is now impacting what not even enterprise customers, but general clients that want to sell across channels?
Yeah, I mean, I think PIM has been understood and accepted and adopted and used more prevalently in Europe, where there are many more locales and there are many more channels to sell through. So I think they, at least merchants and companies in Europe, have experienced more complex product data information challenges there before they have here. Here in the U.S., You know, product information is becoming a lot more complex. It's not just the channels, the different sales channels that you can sell through, the choice that users have to make right now, but it's also locales, and it's just also all that information that simply is not well managed within an Excel spreadsheet or other tools. So I think people and companies are beginning to realize the value and importance and the productivity savings and the real ROI to their business in having a dedicated solution like a PIM to manage this asset called product information. So we kind of make a comparison to CRM. If you think of, I don't know how many years ago, but customers' information was managed in spreadsheets and other tools, and now you wouldn't even think about doing that because there are CRM tools that help you manage that valuable asset. Product information is the same thing.
I think too that we are seeing a lot of customers, especially that aren't offering all their products in one channel at the same time, and especially customers with high volumes of SKUs. So say if you had 5 million SKUs, but you only want to offer a small fraction of those to your, say, to your Magento store, that Akeneo is a great solution to be able to segment your catalog and offer it to different channels where you wouldn't have to load up, say, 5 million SKUs into Magento and try to manage them there. Akeneo is a much better platform to manage that level of SKUs and keep them up to date.
Absolutely.
I have some questions if you guys are ready.
Sure.
The first question is from an anonymous attendee. They asked, they said they missed the first part, and they asked, was PIM Magento discussed?
It was, this is Scott Dahlgren, so PIM Magento was not discussed. But for those who are not familiar with PIM Magento is a connector that basically connects Magento with Akeneo. It's built by one of our partners, and you know, it's used very prominently around the world by, you know, lots of customers and by lots of our solution partners. So I guess if there are any specific questions, feel free to send me an email. I'd be glad to answer those for you.
And it looks like we have the PIM Magento crowd chiming in again. Somebody asked, is Akeneo endorsing PIM to Magento versus PIM Magento?
So we're not endorsing one over the other. So as you know, Magento has their marketplace of solutions that are built by partners in the community. We do as well, very common within the open source world. So we encourage ongoing innovation and additions of connectors. There are a few different ones, and it really comes down to a choice among the customer and the partner, because it really depends on their use case.
Yeah, and just to clarify, those connectors are to make sure that the catalog that you have in Akeneo is synced with what you're going to see in Magento. So you're able to beautify and create your catalog in Akeneo and easily then transmit your catalog to Magento using one of those connectors. And I think too that the simple fact that there's multiple connectors available kind of shows the richness of both development communities on how they're both work together to make that solution better, and is always getting better as time passes.
Okay, ready for another question?
Yep.
This question is from Eric Landman, and they ask, how is pricing structured for the various services?
Do you want me to start, Brent?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and start, yeah.
Okay. So as an open source solution, very similar to Magento, we have two versions. One is the community version. It's free to use, free to download and use. And then we have the Enterprise Edition. Enterprise Edition is an annual subscription-based product that we sell. That sells in the U.S. Annual price is $45,000 per year. So that includes support, updates, maintenance, and use of the product.
Great. And so Magento has the Magento Commerce part of it is structured the same way. There's Magento Commerce and there's a Magento Open Source. The open source is completely free and it has always been, and you can download and install that on your local. The Magento Commerce comes in two varieties or three varieties now. There's an on-premise, which means that you can run it on your own machine, on your own servers or a hosting company. And then there is a cloud version of that, which is not a SaaS, but a PaaS. So, I mean, it's a product as a service, where Magento hosts your instance of Magento and manages the code stack. And then there's also a Magento starter version now that's available that would not include some features like the B2B portion of Magento. It would also not include some of the other features, or it would include a downsized version of business intelligence, which I didn't have time to get into, but does include the core features of what Magento Enterprise or Magento Commerce now include. The pricing, I think, on those starts at around $24,000 a year for the Magento. The Magento Order Management is a SaaS-based platform. And the pricing there, I believe, starts at around $36,000 per year. The other ones that we mentioned, the Jamango application is around $6,000 a year for the enterprise, and I believe it's a little bit less if you're on open source. And then the POS from eBismart starts at around $600 per year on a subscription for each individual retail that you have. So,
Brenda, I also wanted to mention too, with Akeneo, we do offer a lot of flexibility in deployment. So this is on the enterprise version. So we do offer downloadable on-premise version, but also two different cloud versions. So we offer a PaaS cloud version and also a SaaS cloud version. SaaS, we want to, we're managing the entire server stack plus the Akeneo code, and we're maintaining and updating that entirely.
Right. Yeah, so I guess to differentiate Akeneo and Wagento, Akeneo is the actual platform. You created the platform, and Wagento, we are a partner that helps implement the platform. So that's just a little bit of distinguishing there.
Ready for a final question?
Yes.
Okay. Can you describe the workflow companies use to enrich data from third-party vendors in their creative departments?
Scott, that sounds like a question for you.
Can you say that one again, Madeline?
I was muted. Can you describe the workflow companies use to enrich data from the third-party vendors and their creative departments? The question's in the chat window, so if you want to reference it again, it's in there.
Okay. So included with Akeneo are a number of workflow, capabilities and functionality. And those can include creating, for example, let's say you've got a seasonal sale that's coming up and, you're focused on sun visors or hats or whatever. You can create a collection of those products that need enrichment and send those out to your team or to anyone you want to send. So it doesn't have to be your team. And they then have a set of products and details and information on what they should do. As a manager, I can view and track how that project is proceeding, so I can see how many products it consists of, how many are done, and I can view the status of those products at any time. If I also want to approve any changes that are made, we can include workflow and workflow processes whereby we allow anybody to make a change to any part of the product description or product information, any attribute at all, and submit it for approval, and it would be approved before it actually gets accepted and committed into the database for export out to the product listing. Or wherever the product information is needed. So those are just a couple of examples of the workflow that is included, and both of those are included in the enterprise version of our software.
So that's all the questions that I've seen.
Yeah, I think one last thing too, Scott, that's good to mention with Akeneo is the ability to have multiple vendors that you're not always completely responsible. You could enable some of that responsibility on your vendors to make sure that their products are populated the way they would like to see them in your catalog. So especially for those who are doing a lot of drop shipping that are dependent on other people or people that want to incorporate external vendors into their workflow, this gives them the ability to make their products the way they would like to see them and fulfilled, if that's your particular workflow.
Exactly. So yeah, there's lots of user controls and permissioning that can be that are very fine-grained down to the attribute level. You can be very specific about people or groups of people and what they're able to access. And again, ideally, it's distributing some of the workload to suppliers or other people to import and help enrich products.
All right. I guess one last comment on the QA is that the workflows are available in the enterprise version of Akeneo. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Good. All right. So if we don't have any other questions, we can wrap things up. And I appreciate everybody joining. And this will also be available later as a recording, so you can rewatch it at least 10 or 12 times, which I will be. Scott, do you have anything to close with, or do you want to tell us what your next marathon is?
No, I think I'm all set. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I really appreciate that. I do not have any marathons in my future, but I am continuing to run and focusing on more interval training. So hopefully I hear that's supposed to make me faster, but I don't know, at my age, I'm not sure that's a goal I should shoot for right now.
Great. Yeah. So my next race is Mexico City, and at that same week we'll be doing a little Omnichannel summit in Mexico City, and we'll be having Akeneo as one of those partners to feature there. So
we're looking forward to it, Brent. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, everybody, and thank you for joining.